My hardcore world is 350 days old, and I still don't have a proper food source. So today, I'll be adding some brand new animal farms to my starter town, as well as building a structure dedicated to churning out melons and pumpkins I can use to trade for endless golden carrots. Today's episode is a bit more relaxed, so sit back and enjoy. Now, in the last episode, I did leave this museum a little unfinished. I am going to have to get another wither head to put on that pedestal, which we'll probably do today. But more importantly, I left you guys a little secret message at the end of last video, and I have some tropical fish that I need to name after some viewers and put into that exhibit. So let me go ahead and use my silky smooth pickaxe to kind of burrow our way in here. And we have a ton of different fish. I went ahead and did the first 3 people that commented Silly Billy guaranteed, since they were so early to watching the video. So I wanted you guys to get, your cred. And we also have Guy on a Budget 6389's daughter Quinn, because he made a special request. And Quinn, if you're watching this, I hope you enjoy being a Silly Billy fish. But yeah, let's go ahead and throw all of this into the exhibit, because we have okay, as long as they don't die. We have plenty of fish to kind of go ahead and get placed down. Is this a little too much fish? Maybe it's a little too much, but it does look really nice. So we have a lot of you guys just exploring around in the exhibit. So hopefully none of them find a way to kill themselves. And yeah, you guys can just enjoy your time with the little elder guardian head in there. And yeah, I think it came out pretty well. That's really nice. On second thought, the only thing I don't like here is that sometimes they can somewhat get out of the glass right there. And I think they still count as being in the water, so I don't think they're going to die. But just in case, I am going to replace those bottom few blocks with just, regular glass blocks instead of panes, just so it'll look a little bit nicer. There we go. It kind of juts out a little bit at the bottom, but that's okay. This is a different... I think one of the fish just died. I don't know who it was. I don't know which one of you just died. But one of you just died, I think. Because it got on top of the trident. Ow! Bro! Okay, this is gonna bother me. I need to figure out which one of you died, because I have a tropical fish in my inventory. One of you died before I was able to patch up, One of you died before I was able to patch up the waterfall, so let's figure this out. Okay, so I have a full inventory of all the fish. I'm gonna go look, I'm gonna go look at the previous footage, and I'm gonna figure out which one of you is this tropical fish, because, yeah, we need to make a memorial. Okay, guys, you're not gonna believe this. I just looked at the footage. The one person that died before I was able to patch up those little holes was literally the first person to ever comment Silly Billy, which is 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 longer than anticipated, but we got these little item frames here. We have 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 95, and we can go, should we? No, we'll just leave them in the frame. We have 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 95 and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 95's water bucket. May they rest in peace because, well, they won't be able to swim inside the enclosure any longer, but, you know, their death meant the safety of others, and I feel like, you know, they were willing to make that sacrifice, you know what I mean? All right, quite the chaotic start to the episode. I really wasn't anticipating that, but hey, we got it finished. We have the exhibit done, and we only had one casualty, so God bless. All right, now that all that commotion is done and over with all of the fishies, let's go and add some new members to the member mineshaft since last episode. We've had some new supporters on Ko-fi, which if you guys don't know, you guys can support me over there for things like world downloads and all that kind of stuff. It's a really nice way to support the channel, but of course, you definitely do not need to do it whatsoever. It is a completely just, you know, optional thing to do if you would like to support the content. But welcome Logan as as well as 𝗏𝗡s. And since 𝗏𝗡s is a tier 2 supporter on Ko-fi, I'm going to name a villager after him really quick. Logan, on the other hand, was my first ever supporter on my new Ko-fi account, so I feel like we should, I don't know, do something a little special for our first ever supporter. So I'm gonna build Logan just a small little statue right here to commemorate the occasion. And so that's what I started working on. Now, before you guys think that I have some insane building skills, I don't. This is actually something that I copied off of Pinterest because I thought it looked super cool, and there's no way in hell that I was gonna make a better looking statue than this. I wanted to go ahead and make something that looked pretty cool and triumphant for my boy Logan, and I even slapped on the beacon that we got from defeating the Wither in the last episode. And speaking of the Nether, I went ahead and went back to the Nether Fortress to farm up some Wither skulls because I kind of burnt the Wither boss head that we got from the last episode, so I kind of want to fight the Wither again, and this will also get us a replacement beacon, which is pretty nice. So I spent some time in the Nether Fortress farming up some skulls, went back to the overworld and threw the Wither down underground. As we all know, the Java Wither is super easy to kill, so I took care of him really quick, and then was able to top off the Wither exhibit inside of our boss museum. Alright, so with the statue of Logan completed and we did the stuff at the museum, I think now what I should do before we get on to the main build of the video is kind of liven up the town a little bit, because nothing really lives here. Like, I mean, of course you have like the villagers and stuff that are here, like the guy over there, you have a guy in a stall over there, blah blah blah, but we don't really have any animals. All of the like animals that we have are all the way over here at the trial chamber village. So I kind of want to get like a few animal pens going. Kind of want to get one for cows, sheep, and pigs. So we might, I don't know where I'm going to put the pigs at. Yeah, we're going to need a little bit of animal action going on because there is a few empty spots in this town and we don't really have any wildlife here. And so began yet another side quest this episode. Honestly, this episode I've been getting sidetracked way more often than normal, but I ended up going to a nearby forest to collect as much oak log as possible since this was going to be the main building block for our animal pens. And I ended up getting greeted by some pillagers. And I thought to myself, you know, I could use some extra emeralds and totems of undying, so I took this opportunity to then kill the pillagers, get the ominous bottle, and start a raid. So I flew out to the swamp where I ended up breeding the trial chamber villagers that I brought back to add to the build. I went back towards that area and that is where I started the raid. And interestingly enough, I basically didn't face many dangers at all because it seems like the pillagers were extremely confused with their pathfinding. Like they just couldn't attack me. I don't know if that's because of the vines or all the water or whatever's going on, but the pillagers very rarely ever attacked me, at least up until the end. So it was basically just free mob heads, free emeralds, and free totems of undying, which is always nice. And then I flew home to finally get started on the project. All right, so we are back home after a little bit of a side quest, and I have quite a bit of stuff in the rucksack. Obviously, we went out to get the actual oak wood, but we came away with a bunch of emeralds and saddles and heads and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of this up. It is kind of nice to have some extra totems lying around. Oh, hello. It is kind of nice to have some extra totems lying around now, but I'm going to go ahead and get to work on some animal pens so that we can have this town looking a little bit more lively than before. All right, so now after a little bit of work, we have a few new structures around the town. We have our cow pen over in this area. Over here, we have our sheep pen, and I made sure that we could have grass grow into it just in case we ever need to, because I am going to multiply these guys like crazy because we are going to need some carpet really soon. And of course, we have the pig pen over here. This really isn't for like a particular use. It was just kind of, you know, might as well get that farm animal while we can. I also really quick want to add somebody new to the member mineshaft because they became a member while I've been recording this episode. So let's go ahead and head over here. And there we go. We have a tier 2 member by the name of Frank Hoffman, which means I need to turn him into a villager. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, we already have a villager in this town that's named after somebody. Why don't, you know, Frank, you can let me know in the comments if this bothers you, but why don't you be the iron golem that's constantly beefing with Bobbert over here? You could be the iron golem. You're never going anywhere, and you could just be posted up on this fence for the rest of your life. Alright, so after quite a few different side quests, I think it's about time that we get to the main build of the video. Now, this is going to circle all the way back to this little farm that I set up right here quite a while ago that has to do with melons and pumpkins. I want to build a structure which I'm going to call the Melkin Mansion, aka, you know, melon and pumpkin combined. And basically what this quote-unquote mansion is going to do is it is going to produce these pumpkins and melons automatically, and which we can trade with farmer villagers to get unlimited golden carrots. But the plan is to build a pretty big structure over in this area, maybe have a road come across and connect from there, or maybe a road cut through here, seeing as we haven't really built much infrastructure in this area. Maybe have this road come down, something like that. But I do want to build this building over here on this little shoreline, and it's going to take quite a few materials. We're going to have to breed some new villagers. We're going to have to get some green and orange dye for the glass. I want to theme the whole thing around melons and pumpkins and use this to get our golden carrots. So with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and start a material gathering montage, and this is going to take a while. So with all the materials gathered, I went ahead and wasted no time with getting started on the build. The first thing I had to do, of course, was clear out some land to actually fit it in at, no diddy, and I was then able to get a little farm started on the outside before building the frame. The farm is mainly for aesthetic, but I could see myself grabbing pumpkins or melons from it in the future if need be. Once that was finished, I moved on over to the frame of the build, and this building is 100% unique in the sense that I didn't use any concept art or reference to build it. I just kind of placed blocks until something that resembled a building started to form, and almost all of this is made out of stripped dark oak, by the way, which just took ages to not only get, but to strip as well. Kinda makes me wish we had a sawmill type block that resembled the stone cutter, where I could just mass strip all of these logs in one go, but I digress. After the frame, I moved on to some detailing on the outside and inside. I wanted to use some darker blocks on the outside, those being deep slate tiles, which are probably my favorite newer block that Mojang ever added. And of course, we got things like some arches for detail and leaves for color. Speaking of color, the next step was adding glass, in which I used orange for the pumpkins and green/lime green for a melon pattern, and just alternated between the two to make this pretty cool look on the outside. That does it for the outside, so next I began working on the actual automated farm for this build, and although it's pretty small, I'll probably add a few layers to this in the underground to really ramp up production, but it'll definitely do for now when I don't really have all that many materials for hoppers and whatnot. Alright, so as you guys saw, just like that, the interior of the Melkin Mansion is now completely done. So what we have over here is we have some trading booths for our future villagers, we have some stockpiled product up in the corners. Of course, these are where all of our villagers are going to go. We're going to have 5 on each side, and then of course we will trade with them using the supplies that we get from this farm right here. Of course, I do have a hopper minecart down here just going on an endless loop under this, and if I go and take this into free cam, you can see just how it works. We have the redstone up here, we have a light, as well as a bunch of pistons and observers to actually break the blocks, and then they go straight to here. And then, yeah, of course, we have a little bit of a mirror on this side, and a lot of the materials that I've had to gather and use for the creation of this building, I've just kind of stored in there for the time being. And then we have these little jack-o'-lantern lights, which I actually think look super cool. And then in the entrance, we have a little melon makeshift one as well. But yeah, so the next thing I want to do is to actually fill this building with villagers that we can trade with, and specifically, I think I want jungle villagers. If I remember off the top of my head, the trial chamber little town that we built over there is filled with swamp villagers. We have jungle villagers inside that boat right there, and since we are on the Tricky Trials update, I can actually put leads on boats to bring villagers around now. Plus, I also have an elytra to make this a lot easier. So yeah, I'm gonna get like 10 villagers worth, because there is a jungle village back there, bring them all the way over here, and then if you guys ever become villagers via the memberships or Ko-fi or whatever, I can also name a lot more villagers over here for our little golden carrot farm. And so began an absolutely maddening portion of today's video where I had to bring 10 total villagers that are multiple biomes away all the way back home to occupy our new melon and pumpkin farm. I of course started this by gathering food as I anticipated breeding jungle villagers while I was there so I could guarantee to have enough of them to bring back. Then I set off to the jungle itself. Once I got there, I dug a massive hole and put as many villagers as I could down there with beds and food so that they could then start creating more villagers. All the while, I built this massive staircase for me to lead them all the way up to and to use as a launch platform with my elytra to then fly away with the villagers while they're in boats attached to a lead. Now, when I attempted this, I possibly was a bit too optimistic as I assumed I'd be able to bring all the boats with me in one go, but instead it was looking like I'd need to go boat by boat if I wanted to bring them home. So that's what I did. After I brought over the first set of villagers, I went back for a second, third, and so on. The last group of villagers were being quite a bit annoying, but after some time, I was able to get things to work and bring them over as well. Once everybody was over by the building, I spent a ton of time getting everyone lined up in their stalls, and then spent what seemed like forever trading with these guys to unlock all of their golden carrot trades so we'd have permanent access to golden carrots anytime that we would need them. All right, fellas, it's finally time to reap the fruits of our labor because we were previously pretty short on food, but as of now, that absolutely is not the case because I have sat here trading with these villagers for so long. I even created a little way to tell what they have. So pumpkin, melon, that'll show that they have the pumpkin and melon trade. And then of course I put carrot dealer because I was actually signing these out just so I could keep track of who the master traders were. This guy of course is missing a pumpkin trade, but everyone else aside from him and one other person basically carries the pumpkin and melon trade, meaning that any of the pumpkins and melons that we harvest out here and the ones that we can find automatically harvesting while I'm up to a bunch of other adventures can be used to trade for emeralds and then of course golden carrots. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I kind of went ahead and got rid of all the other emeralds that I had from doing these trades, but we can go ahead and trade with this guy so we can get 10 emeralds right off the rip, get some more emeralds from him, but he does get locked out, so we'll go to the next. Go ahead and use up the rest, so we ended up getting 15 right there. And then we can move on to the melons, which we will get more because this one takes 6 and this one takes 4. So yeah, we get 31 emeralds, and then we can go ahead and go down to the golden carrots trade. And now we have 30 golden carrots really easily. Which at face value, I know doesn't really seem like a lot, but I haven't really been letting this farm run all that much outside of just trading with these guys. And I am going to add some extra layers to this farm as time goes on. But I did just want a pretty easy way to have some, self-sustained food that I can get just by coming here. And of course, that doesn't count any of the trades that we do in the trial chamber village, as well as the guys over there that we can trade paper with, up here, and over on the boat. But now that we have this building made, I think it's time that we go ahead and use some spruce slabs and use our shovel and get some roads connected because currently, well, there's not too much going on. We're not really connected to the rest of the town, so let's go ahead and fix that. There we go. Wish I could kind of show this off in a little bit better weather, but I did end up running out of saplings, so I'll probably end up planting a lot more because I don't know if we'll expand any more in this direction, so I don't really want to plant a forest back there because we probably are going to take a road from here and start building more stuff there. But I could probably put like a decent amount of trees over here at some point. But I did kind of scatter, a lot more trees around the area, especially back over here, where the trial chamber town is, a little circle around the sheep farm. But so far, I'd say we did pretty good in today's episode at least remedying the food issue. We found a way to get ourselves some golden carrots at a pretty easy renewable rate, not to mention all of the other stuff that we can get from trading with these villagers. So I do like this build a lot, especially from an aesthetic point of view, not necessarily, you know, just how it functions. And you know, we also of course got the animal farm, so I can start breeding up those cows over there and those pigs over there. So we'll basically have no more issues in regards to food. And currently we are on day 395. So yeah, we won't be entering the 400s with a huge food issue, which is always good. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for me today. I know today's episode wasn't quite as exciting as the last one, but honestly, if every single episode is super exciting, balls to the wall, you know, killing a bunch of bosses, yada yada, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't really fit the theme of Minecraft to me. Sometimes you're just going to have those times where you sit down and you play the game and you have a little bit of chill fun. You build yourself a statue of a viewer. You do a fish escapade towards the beginning of the episode. Build some animal farms, as well as topping it all off with a custom build. But yeah, I do want to do the comments of the day before I move on and end the episode. And notice I did say comments, so we'll go ahead and get to those. First off, we have the episode 8 comment of the day, which comes from Mr. Crumb, who said, "Your reaction to the Mushroom Island brought me back to when I played the game for the first time. Sat there with a big grin on my face. Love the museum. The Elder Guardian looks like a silly Billy on that huge trident." And I really do appreciate this comment. You know, a lot of times Minecraft is really about those special moments, and for me, that was genuinely the first time I'd ever seen a Mushroom Island in survival without, you know, using cheats or a set seed or anything. Really cool moment. Can't wait to see what we build there. And of course, we have the honorary comment of the day, because I kind of screwed up. This is from 𝗵𝗂𝗕𝗦𝗦𝗕, and he said, "I knew it, buddy." And this is the honorary comment of the day because he called the premise of the episode that I built, the trial chamber cult town thingy, he called it way ahead of time before the episode ever came out. So I wanted to make a little honorary comment for him. So guys, thank you all so much for watching today's episode. I already have the next episode planned out. I'm really excited for you guys to see what we end up doing. It's definitely going to be a lot more interesting than today's, but I hope you did enjoy it nonetheless. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.